The air was thick with dust and silence. The human named Ethan stepped carefully through the ruined alien city. Tall towers, broken and cracked, loomed around him like skeletons of a forgotten world. The ground was covered with ash and strange. Symbols were drawn on the walls. There was no sound except the soft crunch of his boots. Ethan had traveled far. He was alone on this planet, exploring ruins for anything useful. His oxygen mask clicked quietly as he breathed. Suddenly, he stopped. A faint sound reached his ears, soft, broken, almost a whisper. "Please, human, help me." His heart jumped. He looked around, but saw nothing. The voice was weak and shaking, but it felt close. Slowly, Ethan moved toward the sound. Behind a fallen wall, he saw something. A figure, small, frail, sitting in the shadows. As he stepped closer, his flashlight lit the figure. It was a girl, but not human. Her skin was pale, but covered in thick dirt. Her hair hung in tangled ropes, full of dust and mud. She wore torn rags that barely covered her thin body. Her face was hidden under grime, but her large, glowing eyes stared at him with fear and hope. "Please," she whispered again, her voice shaking. "Clean me, human, clean me, and I'll bear you powerful children." Ethan froze. His mind raced. Who was this? What did she mean? Was this some trap? But she looked so weak, so broken. He stepped closer, kneeling down. "Who are you?" he asked carefully. She reached out a dirty hand and touched his arm. Her fingers were cold and trembling. "I am last of my kind," she said slowly. "They killed my people. I hid here for many cycles, but if I die dirty, my line ends forever." Her words made little sense, but something in her voice touched him. She was desperate. Her body trembled badly now. Her skin, where it peeked through the dirt, was marked with strange symbols glowing faintly under his light. "What's your name?" Ethan asked. "I was called Arya," she said weakly. "But names mean nothing now. Please, human, time is short. They're coming." Her head dropped forward. She looked exhausted, starving, close to death. Ethan's throat felt tight. "Who is coming?" he asked, looking around quickly. His instincts screamed danger. Arya lifted her face slowly, her eyes full of fear. "The hunters, they followed me. They will come for you too. If you help me." At that moment, a strange sound echoed in the distance. A low growl, far. But moving closer, Ethan's pulse quickened. This planet had been dead for decades, but now he wasn't alone. Arya's grip tightened. "Please, clean me, or everything will end." Her words felt heavy. There was something more here, something hidden behind her plea. He could see how fragile she was. Her lips cracked, her eyes tired, her hands shaking. But she still begged him. Ethan looked around. He could not just leave her here. He felt something inside a strange pull, a need to help this broken alien girl. He took out his water canteen and cloth. "I'll clean you," he said softly. "But we need to move. We can't stay here." Arya nodded weakly, leaning forward. As Ethan touched the wet cloth to her skin, the dirt came off in thick layers. Underneath, her skin was smooth and shining, with glowing blue lines running down her arms and neck. The marks seemed alive, pulsing gently as he cleaned. He felt a strange warmth spread from her skin to his fingers. Was this some ancient power? Magic? Technology? He didn't know, but it felt important. Arya let out a soft sigh, closing her eyes. "Thank you, human." Suddenly another growl sounded, this time much closer. Ethan jumped to his feet, pulling Arya up. She was light, almost too light, as if she hadn't eaten in days. He put her arm over his shoulder. "We need to go," he said quickly. Arya nodded again, her legs weak but moving. As they stepped out from behind the wall, Ethan caught sight of movement in the shadows. Large shapes, not human. Their eyes glowed red, their mouths opened in silent roars. The hunters, his heart pounded. He didn't know what Arya really was, or what her promise meant, but there was no time to think. She needed him, and somehow he felt that saving her was important, maybe for all humanity. Clutching her tightly, he ran into the ruined streets, the growls growing louder behind them. Dust swirled around them as the chase began. Arya leaned close, whispering with her last bit of strength, "If I die dirty, my children will never be born, and your people will fall." Her words sent a chill down his spine. Whatever she was, whatever this promise meant, Ethan knew one thing: he couldn't let her die. Not tonight. Ethan ran fast, holding Arya tightly. Her body felt light, almost weightless, but her head rested weakly on his shoulder. The ruined streets twisted and turned, broken walls and fallen metal blocking their path at every corner. Behind them, the hunters moved quickly, their growls growing louder. He could hear claws scraping on stone, the strange clicking of alien limbs chasing them. The air was heavy, filled with dust and fear. Ethan's breath came hard through his mask, but he didn't slow down. Arya's earlier words echoed in his mind. "If I die dirty, my children will never be born, and your people will fall." What did that mean? Why was she so important? But there was no time for questions now. A sharp cry cut the air. A hunter leapt from a broken roof, landing hard in front of them. Its skin was dark and rough, covered in sharp scales. Red eyes glowed as it hissed, mouth opening to reveal sharp teeth. Ethan froze for a second, but then grabbed a broken metal pipe from the ground. Without thinking, he swung hard. The pipe hit the creature's head with a loud crack. It staggered back, giving him a moment. Ethan didn't wait. He turned quickly and ran down a side alley, his heart pounding. Arya stirred weakly. You are strong," she whispered, voice soft but full of respect. "Not strong enough." Ethan muttered under his breath, hearing more hunters behind them. They were fast, faster than any human could run. He needed a place to hide, somewhere dark, somewhere safe. Then he saw it. An old building stood ahead, its doorway broken, but the inside still in shadow. Without stopping, he rushed inside. The air was cooler here, dark and silent, except for the sound of dripping water somewhere deep inside. He set Arya down gently behind a wall, keeping his ears sharp for the sound of pursuit. Arya leaned against the wall, eyes half closed. Her skin glowed faintly where he had cleaned her earlier. Strange blue lines ran across her arms and face, lighting up the darkness softly. Even in her weak state, she looked almost beautiful now. Alien, but beautiful. Ethan crouched next to her. "Who are these hunters? Why are they after you?" Arya took a shaky breath. "They are the Dark Ones. They killed my people, hunted my sisters. I am last. If I die, the power of my people dies too." Her words sent a cold shiver down Ethan's back. "But why did you ask me to clean you?" he asked, keeping his voice low. "Why does that matter, Arya's?" Fingers touched the glowing lines on her skin. "These marks, they hold power, but dirt covers them. Weakens me. My people's power was tied to purity, to ritual. If I am cleaned, I can awaken my true strength." Her explanation made little sense to Ethan, but he could see her pain, her weakness, and the strange hope in her eyes. "They will not stop hunting you now," she whispered. "They will hunt you too, because you helped me." Ethan clenched his jaw. He wasn't looking for trouble. He was a simple explorer, just searching old ruins for scrap. But now he was caught in something much bigger than he had imagined. A noise outside made him freeze. Heavy steps moved past the building, sniffing sounds, growls. The hunters were close. "We can't stay here," he said quickly. "Is there anywhere safe?" Arya opened her eyes fully for the first time, her gaze clear. "Yes, there is a sacred place, a temple, deep underground. There is a pool that can cleanse me fully." She pointed weakly toward the far wall. "There, below, tunnels lead there." Ethan looked and saw a broken staircase going down into darkness. It felt dangerous, but there was no choice. "Can you walk?" he asked. Arya shook her head slowly. "It's too weak." Without a second thought, Ethan lifted her into his arms again. She was light, almost too light. He could feel her heart beating softly, her breath shallow. "I will carry you," he said firmly. Arya closed her eyes, resting her head on his shoulder. "You are brave, human." As he moved carefully down the dark stairs, Ethan's mind raced. Why did he feel this strange connection to her? Why did he care so much for a girl he had met just minutes ago? But deep inside, he knew the answer. There was something about her, something ancient and powerful, and he felt that saving her mattered, not just for her, but for him too. Maybe. For all humans, the stairs creaked and groaned under his feet. The air grew colder as they descended. The shadows thickened, wrapping around them. But still, he kept going, holding her close at the bottom. The tunnel stretched ahead, dark and wet, but safe for now. The hunters were above them, searching, but Ethan and Arya had bought time as they moved slowly through the dark tunnel. Arya whispered, "Thank you, human. I will remember this. If I live, I will keep my promise." Her soft words filled him with determination. Whatever this promise was, he would make sure she lived to keep it, even if it cost him everything. Asterisk. The tunnel was long, cold, and dark. Ethan carried Arya carefully, his boots splashing in shallow pools of water on the ground. The air smelled damp and old, and strange symbols were carved into the stone walls. He moved quickly, but quietly, every step echoing in the silence. Arya felt lighter in his arms, her body too thin, too fragile. Her breathing was slow, but she kept whispering directions softly into his ear. Left, now right, straight ahead, soon. We will reach the place. Ethan's mind was racing. The glowing marks on Arya's skin pulsed gently, guiding him through the dark. He couldn't stop thinking about what she had told him. Her people were gone. She was the last. And somehow, cleaning her could bring her power back. But what kind of power? Could she really bear powerful children who would protect his people? It sounded strange, impossible. But the glowing marks and her strange, quiet strength told him that this was real. All of it. Finally, they reached a large stone door at the end of the tunnel. Strange writing covered it, glowing faintly blue in the darkness. Arya raised a weak hand and touched the symbols. They lit up brighter under her fingers, and slowly, the door creaked open with a heavy sound. Inside, Ethan saw a strange room, an old bathhouse, built from smooth, dark stone. In the center was a large pool filled with clear, still water. The water glowed with a soft blue light, lighting the whole chamber with a calm glow. The walls were carved with more alien symbols, ancient and beautiful. Arya's eyes opened wide. And for the first time since he found her, she looked peaceful. "This is it," she whispered. "The sacred bath. If I am cleaned here, my strength will return, fully." Ethan stepped carefully to the edge of the pool and set her down gently. Her hands trembled as she touched the water. Small waves spread across the pool, and the glowing marks on her skin pulsed in rhythm with the light in the water. But her body was still covered in dirt, thick and dark. Ethan knelt beside her. "You can't do this alone," he said softly. Arya nodded weakly. "Please, clean me here. Fully. Only then can I become whole." Ethan dipped a cloth in the glowing water. As soon as the wet cloth touched her skin, the dirt melted away faster than before. The glowing lines under the dirt became clearer, brighter, and stronger. Her pale skin shimmered with beauty and power as he carefully wiped her face. Her arms, her hands, her features began to show through the dirt, delicate, graceful, almost angelic. Even in her weak state, she looked extraordinary, not just beautiful, but something more, something noble and ancient. Her hair, once tangled and matted, began to loosen as he gently washed it, revealing soft strands with a strange silver-blue shine. As he worked, she kept her eyes closed, breathing slowly. Almost as if she was dreaming, Ethan felt strange emotions inside: protectiveness, curiosity, and something warmer, deeper. He had never met a creature like her before. But he could feel the power she spoke about. It was real, and he was helping bring it back. While he cleaned her, Arya whispered softly, her voice low and gentle. "My people, long ago, kept peace in this part of the galaxy. We had great power, but we did not conquer. We protected, until the Dark Ones came and destroyed us." Her voice cracked with sadness. "I was hidden by my mother in this ruined city until now." Ethan listened quietly, his hands still working to clean every part of her frail body. He realized how much pain she carried, how long she had been alone and in hiding, how desperate she must have been when she first begged him for help, and now she trusted him, a human, a stranger, with her life. Suddenly, her body glowed brighter. The dirt was almost all gone now, and the glowing lines across her skin pulsed strongly. She opened her eyes and looked at Ethan directly. Her gaze was sharp and full of gratitude. "You are different from the others," she whispered. "Oh, you chose to help when no one else would." Ethan nodded. "You asked, and you needed me." Arya smiled faintly. "When this is done, I will keep my promise. I will give you children with my blood. They will be strong. They will protect your people. They will help build a future." Her words filled him with a strange mix of hope and wonder. What kind of children would she bear? What kind of power would they have? As he finished cleaning her last wounds, the glowing marks on her skin lit up fully, filling the whole bathhouse with a soft, beautiful blue light. Arya sat up slowly, stronger now, but still weak from hunger and wounds. Suddenly, a loud noise echoed from the tunnel behind them, a deep growl. The hunter's Ethan's heart pounded. He looked toward the door. They had found them again, but Arya's gaze was calm now. "Almost done," she whispered. "Once I am fully cleansed, my power will return." Ethan stood up quickly, gripping the metal pipe he carried as a weapon. "Then I'll buy you time," he said firmly. Arya nodded. "Thank you, human. Just a little longer." As he moved to block the door, he felt no fear, only determination. He would protect her until her promise was fulfilled. Ethan stood firm at the entrance of the bathhouse. The dim light from the glowing pool behind him cast his shadow long across the stone floor. He gripped the metal pipe tightly, his fingers white from the strain. The growls and heavy steps from the tunnel echoed louder now. Arya sat quietly at the edge of the glowing pool, her body glowing faintly, her breathing calmer. But she was still weak, not fully cleansed yet. She needed time. Time that Ethan had to give her. A sharp scraping noise cut through the air as claws scratched the stone walls of the tunnel. Then, from the darkness, one of the hunters appeared. Its large, twisted body, hunched, sharp claws gleaming. Its red eyes locked onto Ethan, and a low, hungry growl rumbled from deep in its throat. Without hesitation, it lunged. Ethan swung the metal pipe with all his strength. The pipe crashed against the hunter's shoulder, sending it crashing into the wall with a loud crack. But even before it hit the ground, another creature appeared behind it, and another after that. There were too many. Ethan's heart raced. But he stood his ground. "Stay back," Ku shouted, though he knew they couldn't understand him. The hunters only snarled louder, their mouths dripping with dark saliva, their claws reaching out for him. Suddenly, a voice, soft but clear, came from behind. Ethan, he glanced back. Arya was watching him, her glowing eyes calm but urgent. "I am almost ready," she said gently, "but you must survive, just a little longer." Her words filled him with courage. He had no armor, no real weapon, but he would fight. For her, for whatever promise she had made. The first hunter jumped again, and Ethan dodged sideways, swinging the pipe hard at its legs. It stumbled but didn't fall. Another creature slashed at him, claws cutting through the air just inches from his chest. Adrenaline surged through Ethan's veins. He fought with everything he had, swinging, dodging, pushing back the monsters one by one. But they kept coming. Their glowing eyes burned with hunger and hatred. Behind him, Arya dipped her hands into the glowing pool. The light grew stronger, the water swirling as ancient energy awakened. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed brighter, spreading across her body. She whispered strange alien words, a soft chant that filled the air like music. Ethan caught a glimpse of her as he fought, her hair shining like silver, her skin glowing blue, her form becoming less fragile, more powerful. She was transforming, but not fast enough. A sharp pain shot through his shoulder as a hunter's claw grazed him. He cried out, stumbling back, but didn't fall. He couldn't fall. He couldn't let them get to Arya. One of the hunters broke past him, rushing toward her. "No!" Ethan shouted. With a desperate burst of strength, he grabbed the hunter's tail and yanked it backward, slamming it hard against the wall. The creature screeched in rage but was stunned for a moment, long enough for Ethan to step between it and Arya. Again, blood dripped from the wound on his shoulder. His arms ached. His breath was ragged. But he stood tall. Then he heard it, Arya's voice, stronger now. "Ethan, I am ready." The pool behind him exploded with blue light, filling the whole bathhouse. The glow was so bright that the hunters froze, snarling but afraid. Their red eyes narrowed as the blue light burned their skin. Arya rose slowly from the pool. Her body was no longer frail or weak. The glowing marks covered her fully now, and her silver blue hair flowed down her back. She stood tall and graceful, power radiating from her. Her eyes met Ethan's, soft and full of gratitude. "You have done enough, human," she said, her voice no longer weak, but filled with strength. "Now I will protect you." She raised her hand, and the glowing lines on her skin flared. A wave of blue energy rushed out from her, slamming into the hunters. The creatures screamed, their bodies dissolving into ash as the light consumed them in moments. The bathhouse was silent again. Ethan fell to his knees, exhausted, bleeding, but alive. He looked up at Arya, who now glowed with beauty and power. She knelt beside him, placing a soft hand on his wounded shoulder. Warmth spread from her touch, soothing the pain, healing the cut. "You saved me," she whispered. "You did what no one else would do. You believed in me. And now I will keep my promise." Ethan felt tears burn his eyes, not from pain, but from relief. Arya smiled gently, her glowing face filled with kindness. "You are not just a human. You are my savior. And together, we will change everything." The glowing pool behind her calmed, its light now gentle and peaceful. The danger was gone for now. But the journey was far from over. Arya stood, reaching out her hand to Ethan. "Come," she said softly. There is more you must learn, and soon I will tell you everything. With her help, Ethan rose to his feet. The bathhouse felt safe now, but outside, the galaxy was still dangerous. But he no longer felt alone. He had saved her, and now she would help save humanity. Ethan followed Arya slowly through a dark tunnel that led away from the bathhouse. His body ached with every step, but the pain was fading, thanks to Arya's healing touch. The blue glow from her skin gently lit the way ahead, casting strange shadows on the stone walls. Arya walked ahead of him now, her back straight, her steps sure. She was no longer the weak, dirty girl he had found trembling in the ruins. She was strong, graceful, and something about her presence felt ancient and noble. But she was still not fully healed. The power she had regained in the sacred bath was only the first step. The real cleansing must happen soon, she said softly, not turning around. This path leads to the Forbidden Temple, where the final ritual must take place. Ethan frowned, his voice low. What's so special about this temple? Arya slowed down and finally looked back at him. Her glowing eyes were serious now. The temple holds the cleansing pool, a place where no outsider has ever entered. I cleanse myself there. All my strength will return. My body, my spirit, my bloodline, everything. Her words felt heavy with meaning. And then, Ethan asked, what happens after that? Arya tilted her head gently, a sad smile touching her lips. Then, I will be ready to keep my promise to you and to your people. My children will be born strong, and they will protect humanity from what's coming. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. There was always something behind her words, something she wasn't telling him yet, but deep inside, he trusted her. She had risked everything to guide him here. The tunnel finally opened into a vast underground chamber. Before them stood the Forbidden Temple. It was beautiful and strange, carved from dark stone that shimmered faintly under Arya's blue glow. Tall pillars lined the entrance, covered in glowing alien symbols. The doors were shut, sealed tightly, but the air itself felt ancient, sacred, and filled with quiet power. Arya stopped before the doors and placed her hands against them. The symbols on the doors lit up instantly, pulsing softly. The heavy stone doors groaned and slowly slid open, revealing the inside of the temple. Ethan stepped inside behind her and looked around. The temple was larger than he imagined, a grand hall with a high ceiling, its walls covered in carvings telling the story of Arya's people. In the center was the cleansing pool, much larger than the bath he had seen before. The water inside was deep and glowed with a soft, silver-blue light that felt almost alive. This is the heart of my people's legacy, Arya whispered, her voice echoing softly in the chamber. Only one of royal blood can enter this pool, and only when fully accepted by the ritual. As she spoke, her voice trembled slightly. Ethan noticed. What's wrong? He asked gently. Arya turned to face him, her eyes shining with sadness. There is danger. Still, the temple is protected. Ancient defenses. They do not know you. If you enter with me, you will face them too. Her warning made Ethan pause. Can I stay here and wait for you to finish? He asked. Arya shook her head slowly. No, you helped me. You cleaned me. You must stay with me until the ritual is done. Without you, the temple will not open fully to me. The ritual demands your presence, because you were the one who answered my plea. Ethan sighed. He didn't like the sound of this, but he nodded. Then let's do it, he said firmly. Arya smiled faintly, gratitude shining in her glowing face. Thank you, Ethan. Together, they stepped forward toward the cleansing pool. The ground beneath them lit up with glowing symbols as they moved. as if the temple itself was awakening after a long sleep. Suddenly, the air grew colder. A loud rumble echoed through the chamber, and from the shadows around them, shapes began to form. Stone guardians. Tall and powerful, their bodies covered in sharp edges and glowing red eyes. They carried long spears made of stone and crystal, and they moved with heavy steps. Surrounding Ethan and Arya, Ethan tensed, holding his metal pipe tightly. "What now?" He asked quickly. Arya placed a hand gently on his arm. "Do not attack them," she whispered. "They will test us. They will try to stop us. But if we walk calmly and show no fear, they cannot harm us." Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Could he really walk calmly while these stone monsters closed in? But he trusted her. Slowly, he lowered his pipe and took a step forward, keeping his gaze steady. The nearest guardian moved its spear, its sharp tip almost touching Ethan's chest. But it didn't strike. Arya followed close beside him, her glowing skin lighting the path. Step by step, they moved together, passing through the circle of stone guardians. The guardians watched, but did not attack. When they reached the edge of the cleansing pool, the guardians lowered their spears and stood still again, like statues waiting for the next command. Ethan let out a slow breath. Arya turned to him, her face peaceful now. "You have passed the test, Ethan," she whispered. "Without you, I could never have reached this place. Now, the final cleansing begins." She stepped carefully into the glowing water, her body sinking slowly as the light grew stronger around her. Ethan watched, silent and amazed, as the water's glow wrapped around her like a second skin. He didn't know what would happen next, but he felt certain of one thing. Nothing would ever be the same again. Arya stepped deeper into the glowing, cleansing pool. The water, silver blue and calm, rose to her waist, then to her chest. As soon as it touched her skin, the glowing marks on her body shined even brighter, pulsing with life. Ethan stood at the edge of the pool, watching in awe. He felt like he was standing before something ancient and sacred, something he was never meant to see, yet was now part of. Arya's hair floated around her in the glowing water, shining like threads of silver. Her eyes closed, and she raised her arms slowly, her face peaceful and calm. She whispered words in her own language, soft and musical. The air around them felt different, warmer, alive with energy. The walls of the temple seemed to hum quietly, as if the entire place was breathing with her. Ethan felt a strange peace in that moment. For the first time since he had met her, Arya looked like her true self, strong, graceful, royal. The weak, dirty girl begging for help was gone. Before him was a woman of power, the last of an ancient people. But deep inside, Ethan knew this peace wouldn't last. A low rumble shook the temple floor. The water in the pool rippled. Ethan stepped back, gripping the edge of the pool tightly. The stone guardians that had stayed still before suddenly lifted their spears again. Their red eyes glowed brighter, and they began to move slowly toward Arya. "Arya!" Ethan called out, panic rising in his chest. But she did not open her eyes. Her voice continued softly, her hands glowing now. The water around her swirled gently, and the glowing marks on her skin stretched, wrapping her entire body in light. The ritual was reaching its peak, but she was completely vulnerable. The stone guardians stepped into the water. Their heavy feet made loud splashes as they marched toward her. Ethan didn't hesitate. He jumped into the pool. The glowing water felt warm and strange against his skin, almost electric. But he didn't stop. He moved quickly, placing himself between Arya and the guardians. The nearest guardian raised its stone spear, pointing it at Ethan's chest. Its red eyes glowed, but Ethan stood his ground. "You can't have her," he said firmly. Suddenly, Arya's voice called out, stronger than before. "Stop." Her eyes opened, glowing bright blue. The light from her body exploded outward, flooding the entire temple. The guardians froze instantly, their red eyes dimming, then turning blue. Just like the marks on Arya's skin, Ethan watched in amazement as the stone guardians lowered their spears and stepped back, returning to their places around the pool. The danger was gone. Arya floated gently in the glowing water, her body fully healed, her glowing marks shining brightly. She turned to Ethan and smiled a warm, true smile, full of peace. "The ritual is complete," she said softly. Ethan let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. The tension left his body, replaced by quiet relief. He moved closer to her, the glowing water swirling around them. Arya reached out and gently took his hands in hers. "You stayed with me through everything," she whispered. "Even when you didn't understand, even when it was dangerous. You saved me, Ethan." He nodded slowly. "I just did what anyone would do," he said, though part of him knew that wasn't true. Arya shook her head gently. "No, not anyone. Many would have walked away. Many did. But you stayed. You carried me. You cleaned me. You protected me, and now I am whole again." Her words touched something deep inside Ethan. He felt a strange warmth, not from the water, but from her, suddenly. She floated closer, leaning in so her face was near his. Her glowing blue eyes met his gaze, full of calm and promise. "I told you, if you saved me, I would bear your children," she whispered. "Children who will be powerful, children who will protect your people. Now that I am cleansed, I can fulfill that promise." Ethan's heart raced. His mind was full of questions, but somehow this all felt right. He understood, even if he couldn't explain why. The cleansing pool glowed even brighter now, wrapping them both in soft blue light. But outside the temple, in the darkness beyond the ruins, a greater danger was awakening. Far above them, ships moved silently through the sky, ships belonging to the Dark Ones who had hunted Arya's people. They had found the signal of the temple's awakening. They were coming. But inside the temple, in that glowing pool, Arya's power was complete. Her body glowed with life, her strength fully returned. She leaned close and whispered, "Soon, Ethan, together we will face what is coming. But tonight, I am yours." Her voice was soft, full of gratitude, full of promise. She took his hand and placed it gently on the glowing marks on her chest, the place where her heart beat strong again. "The bond begins now," she said. Ethan understood. This was no longer about just saving one alien girl. This was about the future of her kind and maybe of humanity itself. And he was no longer alone. The ritual was complete. But their journey was far from over. The temple's glow began to fade slowly, leaving a calm, peaceful light around them. The cleansing pool was still, and Arya stood in the center, her skin glowing softly, her silver blue hair falling gently. Around her shoulders, the glowing lines that once marked her skin now formed beautiful patterns. A symbol of her power fully restored. Ethan sat at the edge of the pool, watching her quietly. His body still ached from the wounds and exhaustion. But his heart felt strong. He could feel the bond between them now, a deep connection that was more than trust. It was something ancient, something sacred. Arya stepped out of the water gracefully. She moved with new strength, no longer weak or fragile. She was radiant, powerful, and confident. As she reached Ethan, she knelt in front of him, her eyes shining bright. "You have done what no other could," she said softly. "You saved me when no one else cared. You helped me restore my strength. And now, as I promised, I will bear your children, children who will be strong and special, children who will help protect your kind." Ethan's heart pounded. The weight of her words felt real, powerful, and important. He didn't fully understand how this would happen, but he knew that he believed her. He had seen the power she carried inside her. He had witnessed her transformation from a broken, dirty girl into a glowing, graceful being. But there was no time to rest. A sudden rumble shook the temple. Walls? Dust fell from the ceiling, and distant explosions echoed through the tunnels. Arya's smile faded. "They are here," she whispered. Ethan rose to his feet, his body still tired, but ready. "Who's here?" he asked, though deep down he already knew. "The Dark Ones," Arya said, her voice steady. "They have found us. They come now to finish what they started. But this time, I am ready." Outside the temple, enemy ships had landed in the ruins. Strange creatures in dark armor moved quickly through the shadows, weapons in hand, hunting for Arya. They had sensed the temple's awakening. They knew that she was alive again and powerful. Ethan looked at Arya. "Can we fight them?" he asked. Arya nodded slowly. "Yes, I am strong now, but I need you beside me, Ethan. You gave me your courage, your strength. I will protect you, and together we will protect this place." Her words gave him courage. She reached out and touched his wounded shoulder. A warm glow spread through him, healing the pain completely. His strength returned, stronger than before. "We will face them together," she said, with a wave of her hand. The temple doors opened slowly, revealing the dark tunnels beyond. The sound of enemy footsteps filled the air. Ethan picked up his metal pipe again, but Arya raised her hand gently. "You will not need that," she whispered. Her body glowed brighter now, the symbols on her skin shining like stars. As they stepped outside the temple, a wave of blue light followed them, spreading across the stone walls, lighting up the dark tunnels. The dark soldiers saw them and opened fire. Strange energy blasts filled the air, but none of them touched Arya. She raised her hand, and a shimmering shield of blue energy formed around them, deflecting every shot. With a graceful motion, she lifted both hands and sent a wave of pure blue energy rushing down the tunnel. The dark soldiers screamed as the light engulfed them, dissolving their weapons, their armor, and finally, their bodies. The battle ended as quickly as it had begun. The ruins fell silent again, except for the hum of Arya's power. Ethan stared at her in awe. You are incredible," he whispered. Arya turned to him and smiled warmly. "I am whole now. Thanks to you," she said. "And I will keep my promise." She stepped closer and took both his hands gently in hers. "From this day forward, you are no longer alone. My future, my children, will also be yours. Together, we will create something new, something strong." Ethan felt her words deep in his heart. He knew this was the beginning of something far greater than himself. Arya lifted her face toward the sky above the ruins. Her glowing eyes sparkled with hope. "The galaxy will know," she said softly. "The last daughter of my people has survived, and she has chosen a human to help rebuild what was lost." Ethan stood beside her, feeling the strange peace and quiet after the storm. For the first time in his life, he felt that he was exactly where he was meant to be. Arya turned to him again, her voice gentle but firm. "I will bear you powerful children, Ethan. Children who will protect your kind and mine. Children who will heal the wounds of the past. This is our bond now." Together, they stepped into the light. A new future awaited them, one born from kindness, trust, and warseed. And Warski, and Warski. And Warski Siski. Only Rubykiss has the luxurious texture that glides on like smooth flea. And Livacillo sucking, Warski Silo killer, long-lasting color. Together, they stepped into light. They set to Warski Sabuvel, while we Sabows. We Seb Lao to we. Did play Salef. Courage, their journey had begun. and the galaxy would never be the same.